Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Obviously, there is now less than 100 days left until the election November 5th. And so, in today's video, we're going to be going over what a Republican trifecta would look like in the 2024 presidential election between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. And now, if you don't know what a trifecta is, it's basically that the GOP would have to win the presidency, obviously, the race to the White House, and the Senate, flip that, and also retain or keep control of the U.S. House of Representatives. So basically, they would need all three major chambers, basically major races, I would say. And we're going to be starting off with the presidency, and then we'll move on to the Senate, and lastly, we'll finish off with the House of Representatives. But before we get started, make sure you guys are subscribed, click the bell so you don't miss out on my content, press the like button, give this video a thumbs up. Also, we have memberships. You can find the link to that in the description section if you are interested. So let's start off with the presidency and what a Republican trifecta would look like. So obviously, Donald Trump would win both Iowa, Ohio by solid, comfortable margins. He should pass double digits. Actually, a very accurate pollster had Trump winning Iowa by 18 points. And considering that he picked J.D. Vance as his VP, who's obviously from the state of Ohio, I think that can really help Donald Trump in this state. Obviously, also, Florida is going to be, solid for Trump, in my opinion. You can argue it's likely, but I do think he will surpass double digits. He will get past 10 points in this state. Ron DeSantis nearly got 20 points just, I believe, 2 years ago in the midterms. And Marco Rubio, who is obviously, I would say, less popular, still managed to get past 10 points. So why not Donald Trump, obviously? And even Miami-Dade County, which flipped from blue to red to DeSantis in the midterms. So overall, Trump would make significant gains among Hispanic voters, and I think that's going to happen. As well as Texas would be likely. It's going to be slightly closer than something like Florida, I would say, considering that obviously there's a major border crisis, immigration. I think that can really impact a lot of these voters in favor of Donald Trump, because there's no way how I see Kamala Harris performing better on the issue of immigration than Donald Trump. There's just no way. She doesn't even talk about the issue. She doesn't address it. She doesn't do anything about it. So that's a losing issue for her, and it's a winning issue for Donald Trump. And then you have obviously the comfortable, likely states for Kamala Harris. I would say Colorado and New Mexico is kind of out of reach for Donald Trump, especially Albuquerque is a Democratic stronghold county, has a lot of white liberals, so it's hard for Trump to overcome the votes in there. And then you have Colorado, which is states actually getting bluer. But the reason why you don't see that is because the Democrats don't really have a strong nominee. If they were to put Gretchen Whitmer in there, or I would say Gavin Newsom, even someone like Josh Shapiro, I would say Colorado's solid blue. It would go to the Democratic candidate by over 10 percentage points, just like it did to Biden just 4 years ago. But it's going to be likely for Kamala by 7 to 10 percentage points because she's not the best candidate. Let's just say that. Let's just put it that way. And then you're going to have the lean states for Donald Trump. I'd say Nevada in this Republican trifecta scenario, Arizona, another border state. It's going to come down to Maricopa County. If Trump is able to make gains among the neocons, the establishment, the rhinos, I would say the McCains of Arizona, the Mitt Romneys, then he's on track to win this state, as well as independents as well. And then you have a state like Georgia, in which, in my opinion, Kamala Harris can perform better than Joe Biden. And I would say Atlanta, the metropolitan area, the suburbs, in which they are very important. I think she can do well with the black vote, even though she's like half Indian, by the way. And then as for Nevada goes, I think if Trump's able to flip Washoe County, make gains, and I would say Clark County, the Vegas area, by the way, among Hispanic voters as well, that would be key to his victory, and I think he would do exactly that. He would probably win the state by like 3 to 4 percentage points. And then you have North Carolina, I think, is another lean state for Donald Trump. They actually keep making gains in terms of new registered voters. Republicans keep making gains in terms of new voters, especially in this trifecta scenario. And then you have a state like Virginia, in which the recent poll actually shows Kamala Harris winning the state by 3 percentage points, which is slightly more than Joe Biden, because on the RCP averages, Donald Trump was defeating Joe Biden in Virginia, believe it or not, on average by 0.4%. And now the latest poll has Kamala up by 3, so she is an improvement from someone like Joe Biden. I believe she can perform better in the rural parts in this state, but still, Donald Trump is going to perform better than where he did just 4 years ago, because obviously the state went to Biden by 10 points. So you would see arguably a 7-point shift to the right in favor of Donald Trump. And then you have these Rust Belt states. The latest poll has Kamala up by 6% in the state of Minnesota, and that's coming from Fox News, which is obviously not a left-wing news source whatsoever. So maybe you can say that's bad news for Donald Trump. Still, regardless, I think Kamala would win it, but by a lean margin of somewhere in between I would say 4 to 5 percentage points in my opinion. Obviously, Minneapolis and the suburbs here are really shifting towards left. I think if Kamala Harris is able to perform better than Biden among the women vote, I think she can do better among women's support. As for Wisconsin, I do think Trump's going to win that by a lean margin in a Republican trifecta scenario. If they were to retake the Senate, the presidency, and retain or keep control of the U.S. House of Representatives, I do think if Kamala does not perform as strong as Biden did in Milwaukee, that's basically the only reason why he won this state. And Trump should be able to flip Door County and also run up the numbers in Green Bay. I think he'll do good in the state of Wisconsin. And then as for Michigan, I do think that if Kamala Harris does pick Josh Shapiro as her VP, it's actually going to hurt the Kamala Harris ticket because Josh Shapiro is someone who is basically, I would say, anti-Palestinian protest. He's kind of really pro-Israel. Obviously, he's Jewish himself, and so that's not going to help, I would say, with the pro-Palestinian vote in Michigan. Obviously, the uncommitted vote, which is what I'm trying to say, 100,000 people voted uncommitted in the Democratic primaries. On top of, by the way, Trump actually receiving more votes than Joe Biden in this state in the primaries, despite there's more registered Democrats, believe it or not, than Republicans in the state of Michigan. But obviously, I understand that this is Kamala Harris and not Joe Biden, but it's still an example that Democrats don't really have the enthusiasm in the state as they once did. But it is true that the suburbs and obviously Detroit is really shifting towards left, especially the women vote. So maybe Kamala does stand a chance. But I would say Trump would win it by a narrow margin of under a percentage point. Very tilt. I think Kamala does have a chance of winning this state because she, I would say, basically is slightly more of an improvement than someone like Joe Biden, who just was not enthusiastic at all. And then you have Pennsylvania, in which if Kamala does pick Josh Shapiro, I do think she has a decent shot of actually winning the state, but obviously that's not official yet. And especially in a Republican trifecta scenario, I would say Pennsylvania will be lean for Donald Trump, considering that he literally got shot in the state. So maybe that can boost turnout in the Pittsburgh area, which is close to where he got shot at. Obviously, Butler County is next to Pittsburgh, so it can help in the suburbs. And also, if Kamala Harris does not get in par or in line with Biden in Philadelphia, some of those stronghold Democratic counties, it's not going to end up well for her. And if Trump's able to flip Northampton County, as well as, I would say, Erie County, it's not going to go well for Kamala. And if she does not hold up to those numbers, and Central County, which only went to Biden by like 4.5%, I believe, it's not going to be good for her, and Trump would win Pennsylvania. It's going to come down to the blue-collar workers. Obviously, there's a lot of college-educated voters, which usually goes well with Democrats. I'm not quite sure if Kamala Harris can do well with that. And then you have New Hampshire, in which I do believe that will go to Kamala in a Republican trifecta scenario. Regardless, it does not matter, but probably 2 to 3 percentage points. Actually, a recent poll has her up by 6 to 7 on average, which is actually pretty impressive for her, considering that Joe Biden was polling, I would say, slightly worse than that. And then, obviously, Maine's 2nd congressional district is going to be solid for Donald Trump. And then you have Nebraska's 2nd, which would be lean for Kamala. And Maine's at large would also be likely for Kamala Harris. But you have RFK, which there's a lot of independent candidates that do well in the state of Maine. So maybe that can narrow up the margins and make Maine's at large closer for Donald Trump. But still, obviously, they have an independent senator, Angus King, but I'm not quite sure how that's going to happen. So this is the map. If we were to see a Republican trifecta scenario, if they win the Senate, win the House, and win the presidency, Trump gets 312 electoral votes to Vice President Kamala Harris's 226. So this is the presidency. Now we're going to move on to the Senate, and we'll end off this video with the House of Representatives. So I do think that right off the bat, Texas is going to be likely for Ted Cruz. He would win that by like 5 to 6 percentage points. Colin Alred is obviously not the strongest candidate for the Democrats. I would say Better O'Rourke is kind of stronger because he actually almost beat Ted Cruz in 2018. But I do think that Ted Cruz has gained popularity ever since quite a bit. And so I do think Ted Cruz would win that, especially in a Republican trifecta scenario. And then you have Florida. I believe Rick Scott would win this state by probably 6 to maybe 7, maybe 8 percentage points. I mean, he's not the best candidate. Some would call him a rhino. Some Republicans actually call him part of the establishment, which may not be good for him. But still, the Democrats don't have any candidate to run whatsoever in this state. And the Florida basically has entirety has abandoned the Democratic Party, so it's not going to be good for them. And then you have the likely Democratic states, obviously New Mexico and Virginia. It's not going to be close at all. Tim Kaine and Martin Heinrich are probably going to win by comfortable margins, more than likely, no doubt about it. And then I believe you have the lean Senate seats for the Democrats. You have Pennsylvania, you have Wisconsin, and then you have Michigan, I believe, with Tammy Baldwin and Bob Casey from Pennsylvania, Wisconsin are electoral juggernauts. They always win re-election in this state. They're so popular. They do good among Republicans as well, not just Democrats and even independents. And so, obviously, David McCormick lost in the primaries, by the way, in 2022 to Dr. Oz, who also lost against John Fetterman. So I don't see how David McCormick can beat someone like Bob Casey. It's just not possible. And then you have Eric Hovde on the Republican side for Wisconsin, who is raising a lot of money, by the way. He's very rich, so maybe that can help him in terms of fundraising numbers, but still is not going to be enough to defeat Tammy Baldwin. And then you have Alyssa Slotkin from Michigan, who is not the incumbent, so she's actually, you can argue, a weak candidate. And you can say that she would probably win by more than what the polls are suggesting, because it's actually a close race, because Gretchen Whitmer was actually underestimated severely in 2022. So maybe this state's actually bluer than what some people may think. And then you have Arizona, in which in my opinion would be tilt for Ruben Gallego, who is not the incumbent, by the way, because he's more than likely going to face Carrie Lake, who's just an utter disaster of a candidate. I just don't see how she can possibly win, no matter who the Democratic candidate is, because she is just that bad. And then you have Nevada, Jackie Rosen, a Democratic senator. She's very popular here, going up against her Republican opponent, Samuel Brown, who in my opinion can make this race extremely close, considering the shifts in the trends based off of demographics. Nevada's shifting towards the left, but still not enough for Samuel Brown to end up winning this state. And then you have Montana, in which Tim Sheehy is probably going to win by a lean margin of like 3 to 4 percentage points, defeating the Democratic incumbent, by the way. This is a red state that usually votes Republicans by 20 plus points on the general election, but they have a Democratic senator in Jon Tester. But it goes to show you that the fact that there is a Democratic senator in a red state in Montana goes to show you that that Democratic candidate, in this case is Jon Tester, is so strong because he is a Democrat. And the Lion's Den, guys, this is a red state, so maybe he can do well with those voters. But still, this is a general election, not a midterm, so I don't see a lot of ticket splitting. I just can't see that. I don't think there's going to be a lot of ticket splitting because this is a general election. Then you have Ohio. By the way, I forgot to fill out Minnesota. That's going to be safe for Amy Klobuchar. But Ohio, you have Sherrod Brown, the Democratic incumbent. Just like in a red state from Montana, you have Jon Tester. Now you have Sherrod Brown. But still, I think Bernie Moreno is going to win. He's a Trump-backed candidate. He got endorsed. And then you had, obviously, J.D. Vance from 2022. Obviously, he did not win by the greatest amount. It was only by like 6 points, I believe. But still, I do believe Bernie Moreno will defeat the incumbent here, who he is at risk of losing this Senate seat. I don't see a lot of ticket splitting. I don't see how people would vote for Trump but at the same time vote for Sherrod Brown. It's just not possible, in my opinion, to really think about. Obviously, you're going to get some of those people, but it's not going to be enough for Sherrod Brown to come out with the victory. So the Republican trifecta scenario, if they retake the House, if they win the House again and they retake the Senate and flip the presidency, they're going to get 52 seats to the Democrats' 48. And now we end off this video with the House of Representatives. I do believe the Republicans would get 220 to the Democrats' 215. Now, keep in mind that the Democrats and Hakeem Jeffries only need 4 seats to flip in the House. They only need 4 to flip, and the House of Representatives would flip blue. But in this scenario, if Republicans were to get a trifecta, it's still going to be close no matter what. They would definitely have to hold on to some of these seats in Arizona, as well as flip some, obviously, in California as well. You have John Duarte, who only won by 0.4%. So this can possibly flip to the Democrats. So they got to watch out for that. And then you obviously have competitive ones in the state of Colorado and Washington State. You have Mari Perez, who only won by 0.8%. So maybe Republicans can flip that district as well. It really depends on the race, what you're looking at. And obviously there's very crucial ones, swing ones in Pennsylvania as well. And honestly, Republicans would probably get the House by 5 more than Democrats. Obviously, they need 218, but keep in mind the Democrats only need 4 to flip. But still, in a Republican trifecta scenario, they would win the House of Representatives with 220 districts, the Democrats 215. It's going to be close no matter who wins it, whether it's Hakeem Jeffries or I would say Mike Johnson. It's going to be close no matter what. It's going to come down to the wire. So there you guys go. This is basically a Republican trifecta scenario. Let me know what you agree with or disagree with in the comment section down below and why. And one last final reminder before I end off this video is to subscribe. Click the bell so you don't miss out on my content. We're so close to 4,000 subscribers. Also, we have memberships. You can find links to that in the description section. That's pretty much it. Thank you everyone for watching.